Hello everyone, my name is Forrest, and today's video will be another story time. With the weather starting to get much nicer and will maybe, hopefully, possibly, probably stop raining sometime soon, I thought this might be a fun subject. To those of you who don't know, I do a lot of hiking in my spare time. In my state, there are lots of different environments and ecosystems that I can walk around in. There are temperate rainforests, oak savannas, mountains, rivers, desert, and many, many more that I will skip mentioning because it's not really necessary to tell you and I've got a video to get to. Anyways, in today's video, I'll be talking about my crazy experiences I have come across during my time outdoors. Let's get into it. So this is kind of an old one, but in early 2017, me and my family took a trip to the Redwood State Park. It's a state park in Northern California which is known for its massive, massive trees. To put into perspective how big these trees are, the biggest tree there is 340 feet tall, and some redwoods can have a 24-foot diameter and weigh 1.6 million pounds. These trees are also some of the oldest in the world, some being over 1,000 years old. Anyways, we were staying at this cabin, and the backyard was absolutely filled with banana slugs. One time I went to step outside, and I stepped barefoot on one, and I felt it squish in between my toes, and it was absolutely nasty. On Christmas Eve, I usually go for a super long hike so I don't wake up at 2 in the morning. This time I went to Bryce Creek, which is just a gorgeous hiking spot. It's super far in the woods, so you usually have it to yourself and you don't see a lot of people on the trail. At one point, I got into a fight with a family member and just kind of stormed off on my own path for a bit. To those of you Oregon viewers, you will know that there are lots of cougars here. So I was walking and I got this I feel like I'm being watched feeling. I look up and there's this big ledge about 10 feet away from me with probably a 4-foot tall at the back, 6-foot long cougar just staring at me. I stared at him and he stared back at me. We had our eyes locked on each other for a really long time and eventually I just wanted to leave safely. So I took off my backpack and held it over my head, jumped up and down, made lots of noise, and eventually it ran off. I was still by myself at that point and was trying to find my mom and brother, but I kept thinking, should I run? Is it still there? Is it actually gone? And eventually I found them and we finished our hike. It was a magical but scary experience. There's a lake pretty close to my house that I visit sometimes, either by myself, with my dog, or with other people. One time I was with my mom and I decided to cross a river. It was pretty shallow so I could see the bottom. Anyways, I crossed and I jumped onto the bank, only to try to take another step and feel a pain in my foot. I looked down and there was a stick that was probably 3/4 of an inch in diameter stuck in the bottom of my foot. We were probably half a mile from the car and I couldn't walk, so my mom, being the badass she is, hauled my ass the entire way back to the car, across a river, through sharp rocks, up a hill, and through poison oak into the hospital. They got the stick out of my foot, but I was in a wheelchair for almost 3 weeks after it happened. Not a very fun experience, but let's just say it was exciting. Another fun moment at the same spot. Me, my mom, and my brother were down at this lake again, and usually when I'm with other people, I'm just off doing my own thing somewhere else. Well, I was off on the hill and I can see my mom and my brother, and all of a sudden, they just start screaming. They were both swatting the air, and eventually my mom just grabbed my brother and they were dunking each other in the lake. And I was like, guys, what are you doing? What is happening? Tell me what's going on, please, what are you doing? Yeah. And just kind of freaking out a little because from where I was, I couldn't see what they were running from. Eventually, they all came out, soaked and wet, and what had happened is my brother was standing on a log and had accidentally rolled it over. And you know what was underneath? A huge goddamn wasp nest! I took my brother to the car, but my mom had dropped her bag with her phone and the car keys right next to the log, so she actually had to go back and get it, otherwise we weren't getting anywhere. But she got her backpack safely and we got home. I didn't get any stings because I was off by myself, but we counted the stings, and my brother got about 30 and my mom got 28, I think. I felt really lucky to not get stung, but it was scary for me because it was super confusing at first. When I lived in Nevada, every year my family would go to a camping site on the Yuba River. It was a gorgeous spot and it was great for swimming, but even though it's super pretty, there are actually water snakes that like to swim around. They just kind of float on the surface and they don't really bite you, they're not poisonous or anything, but if you don't see them at first, they can definitely give you a scare. I hope you enjoyed this video. I do hikes almost daily, so you'll probably hear some more crazy hiking stories from me in the future. That's all for this video. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!